Hello, friends, once again. Now, as I stated in my intro video, I'm going to be doing some discussion about guitar brands, maybe a little bit of drums. I guess it really depends on who I'm talking about. Just a lot of music brands as a whole. And the first video I'm going to do, now I wanted to do this back in the summertime when all this shit exploded. But I'm going to do it now since a lot of it's all petered off. And that is the Gibson shit show. Now, and it's probably the only time I'm really going to call it a shit show. And the reason being, I'm just going to give my thoughts. I'm not going to go derogatory because I did a video on the whole Gibson thing a couple years ago on my other channel. And it was pretty derogatory, and I'm not going to go down that path. I just want to talk about just basically my thoughts on all this while I open a beer. Quarren beers. So this is a Hammond River 1914 Czech Pilsner, made in my hometown. Yeah, that's good. So, Gibson has come under fire literally over the last several years, and it's like constant, almost every couple of months, someone posts a new video about this. So my overall thoughts are this. From bankruptcy to lawsuits, not showing up at NAMM because they'd rather be at some electronics convention, suing Dean guitars and Kiesel guitars, I don't understand why. The only positive thing that they really have done in the midst of all this is a donation of guitars to musicians who lost their gear in the Nashville tornado back in March, or the early part of March. So I kind of guess what I want to talk about, first off, I'm going to go over the pros. The pros of this video is going to be, you got to look at it this way. They've been in business for over 130 some years. You would figure by now that they would have a much better grasp on the situation. Now, I have lots of friends who use Gibson guitars. I know lots of YouTubers that still use Gibson guitars. Yada, yada, yada. Obviously, they're older guitars, the 50s and the 60s Les Pauls. And even some of the 70s. It depends, I guess, on which model. And some of the basses, too. Your Les Pauls, your SGs, your Flying Vs, your Explorers, your RD guitars, which are great in terms of the vintage older models, and basses, the RD basses and stuff. The cons is another story. Robo-tuners. Yeah, let's basically have a tuning system that if you hit a big chord or something, it's, like it's supposed to tune itself. Well, there have been people that have posted stuff about guys hit a big open chord, a big standard E chord, and it would automatically tune it to Dadgad. It's like, what? What are you doing? Dip switches. Oh, pull and pull. To go from a standard song into something much more technical, you're going to have to push and pull and do a whole bunch of tweaking on all these switches to get a Strat tone. Just go get a Strat. I don't understand why you want to have, and I understand you want a guitar to be versatile. Gibson's not it. Gibson's not going to be what, if I'm going to buy a Gibson, I'm going to buy something from the 50s or the 60s. Something that I have two humbuckers that's going to do the job. I hit that big old power chord or the big old chunky chug chug chug, and I'm going to get exactly what I want. But I could care less about new Gibsons. Weird finishes like the Blueberry Burst, I mean, it's kind of nice, but on a Les Paul, no. It doesn't look that great. It's not what Gibson's known for. So just stop it. Thank God they did after, a year or two ago? Going overboard with all these different models that they have. And I don't mean like, the Les Pauls, the SGs, and yada, yada, yada. Stick to with what you have. You have a standard, classic, or like a custom shop. Them three, stick to them. Don't do a friggin' thing. Because once you get past that, you're all in a mess. And stop suing people for frig's sakes. This is the one thing that I never understood. Why these bird brains would go and do this kind of stuff. Gotta find a picture. Did I put it? Yes. So before I get to this, the other thing, them running over guitars and destroying them, brand new guitars that for some reason were messed up at the factory, and there have been YouTubers have gone and done videos where they put bullets in them. They've smashed the thing and thrown it in the trash. Or they've just taken it and thrown it in the trash. And they put a bunch of nicks and stuff in it. It's like, you mean to tell me there's a gold top in a dumpster somewhere? Like a gold top in a dumpster somewhere. And you're throwing it out. Why? Because it didn't sell? Or got returned for whatever reason? Why? And then they lined up all those Firebird X's, and I understand you couldn't sell them. You couldn't donate them. You couldn't take those guitars and donate them to, some form of a charity foundation that could, hey, make you guys look better, because you've already been dealing with lawsuits, suing Dean Guitars over the Flying V and the Les Paul shape. Get out of here. And then this debacle that I've seen, like literally the biggest debacle I've seen, is Gibson suing Kiesel Guitars for the Ultra V. Let's see if I can't get this here. No, it may not show it. No, it won't show it because it's... Actually, here, let me find this real quick. I know this might seem a little bit weird. So, we all know what a Flying V looks like. Let me pull up the Ultra V. Ultra V. Guitar. Okay, so this one here has... Jeez, Willikers. This isn't working. Okay. So what I'll do here is I'll go with the carbon version. Now this here, that's the carbon version. Notice the horn? Like normally on this side here, this here would be much longer and this side would be shorter. It's a complete reverse. Like, why are you suing over that? Like, that has no legit bearing on what you're doing. Like, you are literally suing them over stupidity. The Dean guitar side of things, Dean's been making Flying V's, Les Pauls, Explorers for 40 plus years. And you're just gonna start suing them now. And the thing is Gibson didn't even have a patent for that until 1995. Why wouldn't you immediately, back in the day, because Dean started in 77, and you're just now going to sue? A couple years ago? Why? Like, what bearing is it? What? I don't understand. And this has been my biggest point. This has been the biggest talking point that people have had about Gibson. It's not that you guys make bad gear back in the day, but over the last 5 to 6 years, you guys have had terrible friggin' quality control. You've come up with stupid ideas with like the robo-tuners and the dip switches and all that crap, like I said. Just go back and make guitars like you used to. Stop making so many changes. I've got two guitar players right now in the band I currently play in. One uses ESP, and he uses the EC shape or the Eclipse, which are single cuts. They look, sound, feel, and play better than a newer Gibson. Not the older Gibsons, because that's the thing. It's the 40s, the 50s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, and the odd 80s. It depends on what specific year. They are amazing, but the new ones are garbage. Oh, excuse me. The same with the V's, the SGs, yada yada yada. The faded was, it was okay. I thought it looked cool. I was like, well, I might actually get one because I know they make them lefties. When I was in the process of at one point gonna play guitar for the band that I'm in, but I went back to playing bass. Like, fuck for that. And it just makes no sense. I mean, I don't get it. And people still support them. People are like, oh, there's still amazing guitars and basses and stuff. It's like, are you buying new ones? Because if you are, I hope you're checking the quality control before you leave the store. I just don't get it, guys. I mean, would I ever own one? Nah. I mean, it would have to be something out of the the 60s. But I have no use for Gibson in terms of newer guitars because they don't make enough lefties for me to care about. Now, that having been said, would I own a Kiesel? Yeah, most likely, because I know I could get what I want. I could have it custom ordered and I could have it sent to my house. I don't have any Dean guitars, but what I do have is this. This is me showing my support to a brand who has no problem communicating with people. They have no frigging problem communicating with people on any of their social medias. They have a great group called the Dean Owners Association. People who own Deans, they talk about them. They talk about how they bought them. They talk about what they've bought, the dream ones they want, ones they can't find. Great people, and they all meet up every year in the wintertime down in Florida. and they just, at Tampa, and they go hang out, with the CEO, Evan Rubinson, who, for some magical reason, I can go on Twitter and talk to the guy. Like legitimately, like I can go and I can have a conversation with the man. I mean, he's the head of Armadillo Enterprises, and Armadillo runs at Dean Guitars, Luna Guitars, which are great acoustic, and as well as ukuleles, and D-Drum, who I actually didn't know they dealt with, Dean and Armadillo and D-Drum and all that. Like, I didn't know they... Well, that was exciting. Oh well, I'll leave that in the video. Ah, yes. Probably spun around and hit it with a chair. Anywho, so all this having been said, at the end of the day, when we look at it, is why the one thing I would love for Gibson to do would be to stop pussyfooting around, as it were, and just stick to making good guitars. And don't give a script to some bonehead somewhere up high in management and then have Mark Agnesi sit in front of a camera with a Les Paul on his lap and talk about playing authentic. Because, Mark, we know back in the day when you were at Norman's Rare Guitars, you did Guitar of the Day and you talked highly about other guitars that weren't Gibson. And had the Gibson shapes. If you play a Gibson because you love the brand, or if you love the guitars, fine. But if you're still diehard supporting these guys, even after all the cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff they did, why? That's my question to you. And I'm not here to say you're a piece of garbage. I think some people are foolish because they're like, oh, well, it's the greatest brand in the world and no one's ever going to beat them, yada, yada, yada. Well, I'm sorry, other brands have. At the same time, if you love playing your Gibsons, keep playing your Gibsons. Because obviously they mean something to you for a reason, whether it's an heirloom from a family member, or you just want You just love playing it. You know, if it's like an older 40, 50s, 60s, or 70s, or even 90s and 80s, if it works for you, great. This is my personal opinion. And you can hate me for it in the comments, do whatever you need to. But out of these three brands I've spoken about, Gibson, Dean, and Kiesel, Kiesel would be great. I would love to own one. But hey, I'm looking at, in this time frame and in this economy, it's not going to happen. But if I really want to, and like I said, I've got this Dean lanyard, and I do have a shirt that's actually currently sitting in Calais waiting for me to pick it up. But unfortunately, because of, the COVID thing and all that, I can't get across the border, which is fine, because eventually I'll pick it up and then I'll come do a video on it and put it on. So I support Kiesel. I support Dean guitars. I support lots of brands. I support Schecter because I do play them currently. But I'm not really a brand whore. I mean, I do show my love and support to the brands who deserve it. And Kiesel deserves it, so does Dean Guitars. So Evan Rubinson and Chris Canella, both of them. D. Drum and Luna. But not Kiesel. Not from me. If you dig it, great. I just can't put my support behind a company that literally can't get their friggin' head on straight. So leave a comment below in the comment section. If you don't like if you don't like what I'm saying, fine. If you do, great. But just, make sure that make sure you're supporting them for all the right reasons. Support them for the vintage gear and what may happen in the future. But with all the other stuff that's come out in the last several years, I can't. Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow with the Anthesis review, 10th anniversary.